Hello guys, welcome back to my channel in English Academy. Guys, in this video we will explain the poem There is a pleasure in the pathless woods. So guys, let's start now. There is a pleasure in the pathless woods. There is a rapture on the lonely shore. There is a society where none introduced by the deep sea and music in its roar. I love not man the less but nature more. From all from all I may be or have been before, to mingle with the universe and feel what I can never express yet cannot all conceal. Guys, in the first stanza of the poem, the poet describes that the poet is all alone on the shore. The fallen seashore fills the heart of the poet with delight and wild ecstasy. While on the sea, one doesn't feel alone. It is like a big society with no disturbances. There is roaring sound full of music. Byron says he loves man, but his love for nature is deeper. When in the company of the sea, he feels the joy which can't be described. Here in nature, Byron finds spiritual companionship. Companionships, no one interfered, no one introduced. Byron says he loves nature, but he also loves man. I love not man this less, but nature more. I love not man in the less, but nature more. From these our interviews in which I steal, from all I may be or have been before, to mingle with the universe and the feel. Guys, in this line, the poet feels that in nature company he can forget all his unhappy experience of the past, which often torment his heart and mind. In nature's company, he feels a process of depersonalization become active. It saves him from himself, ever haunted by his sense of sin and retributions. By a sinister fate that would not leave him alone, so he said that he stole from all he may be or have been before. To mingle with the universe, he merged his own self into nature. His smallness is transcendent by beingness of nature. He feels his enlargement and ejaculation in such mingling with the universe. Next stanza. Roll on, thou deep and dark blue ocean, roll. 10,000 fleet sweeps over in vain. Man marks the earth with ruin. His control stops with the shore upon the watery plain. The wrecks are all they did, or no doubt remain. A shadow of man's ravage shame his own, when for a moment like a drop of rain, he sinks into the depths with bubbling groan, without a grave, unkilled, uncoffined, and unknown. God, in the second stanza, the poet is a lover of man, yet comparatively his love for nature is deeper. There are reasons for it when he wanders in natural surroundings of hills and sea. He feels as if he is portion of all that. He feels as if he is one with it. This is something mythic. He can't fully express it, but it is a powerful experience. It can't remain totally unexpressed. He finds that it is difficult to express what he feels, but at the same time, he finds it difficult to conceal his feelings and thoughts that come to him. Guys, next third stanza. His steps are not upon thy path, thy fields are not a spoil for him. Thou dost arise and shake him from thee, while strength thee wills, for earth's destructions thou dost all despise. Springing him from thy bosom to the skies, and sends him shivering in thy playful spray. and howling to his gods where happily lies his petty hope in some near port or bay, and dashed him again to earth. There let him lay. But in the third stanza of the poem, the in this line, the poet addresses the ocean. The ocean Byron sees is the Mediterranean Sea, which he sees from the Alban hills. The poet says that the sea is mighty, man has no control over the sea, and he can bring no change there. His control is limited to the shores. He has used his power destructively on his earth. Guys, here the poet personifies the ocean and says that he has ruined it. Man tries to control the sea with his fleet of the ships, but however great the number of ships may float upon the sea, they are powerless to control it. Man has worked destruction upon the earth, but he is powerless in the ocean. There are no signs of any destruction caused by him. Whatever destruction is caused in the ocean, it is caused by the ocean itself. Guys, the poet says that man appears insignificant before the ocean. He sinks under the waves of the ocean like a drop of rain within a very short time. On earth, some rites and ceremonies are observed at his death, but in the ocean, they are not possible. When man is drowned in the ocean, it is by accident. No funeral bells can be tolled at that time. His dead body can't be laid in a coffin and placed in a grave. In the same way, no stone in his memory can be erected in the ocean at the place where his body sinks.